Week 2 is finally here, and that means a full day of football on deck. We've got wall-to-wall action across the league, early kickoffs, late windows, and prime time. This is where the board really opens up and the value shows itself. I'll walk through every matchup, highlight the numbers, and point out where the edges are hiding. And before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single play all season long. Now, let's get into the Sunday slate. Yesterday, we finished with 2 wins and 2 losses. This puts our overall record at 14 wins and 24 losses, and we are down 4 units. Time to get right now. Now, first, I'm going to share some of the best EV plays, as well as some long shot plays it'll be on, and then we'll break down game by game. Now, when you see value, I'm talking about expected value, or EV. That's just a fancy way of saying, do the odds the sportsbook gives you underestimate a team's actual chance of winning? If they do, then we've got a bet that pays out more often than the odds suggest. That's a positive EV bet. One of the best EV spots and plays I like this week is Jets versus Bills. The sportsbooks are giving the Jets around plus 260 on the money line, which means they're pricing the Jets at only about a 27% chance to win outright. But according to ESPN's FPI model, the Jets actually win this game 35% of the time. That's a big difference. When we plug that into the EV formula, it comes out to a plus 27% expected value. That's massive. And it makes Jets moneyline one of the best bets on the board for Week 2 EV play. Now, that doesn't mean the Jets are favored. Far from it. The Bills are still the better team on paper, and they should win more often than not. But the numbers are telling us that the Jets are being undervalued. If you take this bet over the long run, you're going to come out ahead. As for some big long shots for fun I'd look at this week, I'll take the Jets money line at plus 260. Next Seahawks to win and under 40 points at plus 325. Caleb Williams over 40 rushing yards parlayed with Brenton Strange anytime touchdown at plus 1,220. So our first game, we have Cleveland heading into Baltimore. And it's a lopsided line. The Ravens are laying 11.5 points with a moneyline price of minus 750. The Browns sit at plus 530. If you're hunting an upset, the total is 45.5. The Browns defense looked sharp last week. They generated pressure and limited big plays. And now they get another test against Lamar Jackson and this high-powered Ravens offense. Baltimore looked explosive, but let's not forget, this Browns D held the line last year too. They've got the talent to hang around, especially early. I am leaning Browns plus 11.5 if I had to pick a side, just because this feels like too many points for divisional rivalry, especially with Cleveland's defense playing well. I won't be playing that though, because I can easily see the Ravens winning this game 34-20. My first bet is Ravens, first half spread minus 6.5. Baltimore starts fast at home. They've covered the first half line in 15 of their last 20 games. Add in the crowd energy and a defense that should rattle Flacco early, and this could be a Ravens runaway before halftime. Even if Cleveland hangs around late, I like Baltimore to come out aggressive and control the tempo in the first 30 minutes. Next, Derrick Henry is making his home debut in Baltimore, and after a costly fumble in Week 1, this sets up as a big bounce-back spot. The Ravens are facing a Cleveland defense that plays tough, but they gave up chunk yardage on the ground last week. Henry's going to get fed early and often, especially if Baltimore builds a lead. And this is the exact kind of angry run game where he reminds everyone why he's still one of the most feared backs in the league. The Rams travel to Tennessee, laying 5.5 against the Titans. Moneyline has Los Angeles at minus 255, while the Titans come back at plus 205. Over-under set at 41.5. This line opened around Rams 3.5 and quickly got bet up, so there's clear market respect for LA here. They got the better QB, better pass rush, and a defense that should give Tennessee a ton of problems, especially if they're forced to play from behind. The total at 41.5 tells you odds makers are expecting a slower, grinded-out game. I'm leaning under 41.5. I don't see the Titans putting up more than 17 here, and the Rams will look to control the tempo, not shoot it out. Also, the Titans' defense played well last week. As for my plays here, I'm actually staying away from this game. I don't like anything here, and I feel this could be a trap game. If I had to pick, I'd be taking the points with the Titans. In Detroit, the Lions host the Bears. Detroit is favored by 6.5, moneyline minus 275. Chicago's at plus 225 if you believe in the dog. The total is 47.5. This line opened around lines 5.5 and was quickly bet up to minus 6.5, showing early market support for Detroit. Despite a sloppy Week 1 loss to Green Bay, the Lions are still being respected, likely because of their strong home field edge and track record against Chicago. The Bears, meanwhile, coughed up a 17-6 lead in the fourth quarter against Minnesota and still have major questions around pass protection and Caleb Williams' deep ball consistency. If Detroit's offensive line settles down and Goff gets time, they can move the ball effectively and cover the number. Detroit's run game struggled last week, but their offense goes when they can run the ball, and this is a buy low spot for Detroit Lions running back Jahmyr Gibbs, who was limited to 19 yards on 9 carries in a loss in Green Bay last week. I'm also sprinkling on Sam Laporta to score a touchdown at plus 190. He saw red zone usage in Week 1 and is one of Goff's most trusted targets, especially off-play action. Chicago's linebackers were slow to react in coverage last week. This is a mismatch Laporta can take advantage of near the goal line. Buffalo heads to New York to take on the Jets. Bills are 6.5-point favorites, money line sitting at minus 310. Jets come back at plus 250, total set at 46.5. Josh Allen is coming off a monster game, nearly 400 passing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in a comeback win over the Ravens. Buffalo put up 16 unanswered in the final minutes, but one thing stood out. Baltimore scored too fast. That gave Allen too many chances. The Jets won't play that game. They racked up 394 yards in a close loss to Pittsburgh, with Breece Hall going for over 100 on the ground. The key for New York is ball control, long drives, chew clock, and keep Allen off the field. That script suits them perfectly. I'm taking the Jets, plus 6.5. And I love Breece Hall to go over 80 rushing yards. You can grab that at plus 235. Also, there is news now that Ed Oliver is not going to be playing. This is lining up for a heavy running attack. Down in Dallas, the Cowboys are favored by 5.5 over the Giants. Money line, Cowboys minus 240. Giants plus 198, over under 44.5. Dallas didn't look bad in their opener. They ran the ball efficiently and protected Prescott well. The Giants, on the other hand, looked flat. They managed just 6 points against Washington and gave up over 200 yards on the ground. Their offense struggled to move the ball, and I don't see them putting up more than 17 in Dallas. I'm taking the Cowboys minus 4.5. They're the better team across the board, and they've historically handled New York at home. I'm also on C.E.D. Lamb over 78.5 receiving yards, priced at minus 111. He's averaging 110 per game this season, and after some key drops last week, I expect him to get fed early and often in this one. San Francisco heads into New Orleans. The 49ers are laying 3 points, minus 162 on the money line. Saints are plus 136 at home. Total just 40.5, one of the lowest of the slate. Brock Purdy is not playing. He's dealing with turf toe and a shoulder issue, and Kyle Shanahan called him a long shot for this game. That means it'll likely be Mac Jones under center for San Francisco, a big shift in the offense. Jones doesn't bring the mobility or improvisation Purdy gives them, and that limits the vertical game. The Saints, meanwhile, dropped their opener 2013 to the Cardinals. I'm betting Christian McCaffrey to go over his receptions total. Expect a lot of checkdowns and quick throws from Mac Jones in this spot. In Miami, the Dolphins are slight favorites over the Patriots, and I don't really know why. Line is Dolphins minus 1.5, money line minus 122. New England sits at plus 104, total 43.5. Week 1 showed a lot of red flags for Miami. They got blown out by the Colts. On the other side, the Patriots lost a tight one at home to the Raiders 2013. I'm on the Patriots money line here. Miami looked flat in Week 1. They got blown out by the Colts and showed zero energy or urgency. That's a red flag. Meanwhile, New England was competitive against the Raiders, and I think they're the better coached team. I expect them to show more life and come in focused. Cincinnati hosts Jacksonville in one of the higher totals of the day. Bengals are 3.5-point favorites, money line minus 180. Jaguars at plus 152. The total here is 49.5. Jacksonville looked sharp to open the year. And on the flip side, Cincinnati barely escaped against the Browns but shut them down late, leaning on their defense and ball control. The key matchup is whether the Jaguars, Joel, can hold up, and whether Cincinnati can sustain drives without turning the ball over. Even with the Bengals at home, this feels close. Two good teams, both with offensive weapons. I'm playing 2 props in this one. First, Ja'Marr Chase, over 83.5 receiving yards, priced at minus 114. He's the engine of this offense, and I expect a bounce-back spot here against a Jacksonville secondary that didn't face anything close to this kind of firepower last week. Burrow should pepper him early and often. Second, Brenton Strange over 32.5 receiving yards, also at minus 114. The Bengals were very bad against tight ends last year, and Strange should be able to pick apart the middle of the defense against the Bengals. Pittsburgh welcomes Seattle. The Steelers are favored by 3, moneyline minus 152. Seahawks at plus 128, total set at 39.5. I'm on the Seahawks money line. In this spot, Pittsburgh put up points last week behind Aaron Rodgers, but they gave up nearly 200 yards on the ground and couldn't control the tempo. Seattle, meanwhile, had chances to beat San Francisco, and with a cleaner offensive game plan, they can absolutely win this outright. As for props, I'm taking Jonnu Smith to score a touchdown at plus 380. He's being used in red zone packages and saw quality targets last week. At that price, it's worth the shot. Denver heads to Indianapolis as a small road favorite. Broncos, minus 2.5, money line, minus 124. Colts are plus 106. Total, sitting at 42.5. This is a stay-away spot for me. I don't see a clear edge on either side. Too many question marks around the quarterback in Denver, and I think the Colts pull back from last week. In Arizona, the Cardinals are 6.5-point favorites against Carolina. Moneyline, minus 310 for Arizona, plus 250 on the Panthers. Total, 43.5. The Panthers are 6.5-point underdogs, but I'm expecting a more competitive game here. If Carolina has any chance, Hubbard has to be the engine. We're talking 20 touches minimum. He lit up this same Cardinals defense for 152 yards on 25 carries in their last meeting. And Arizona just gave up 109 yards on the ground to New Orleans in Week 1. They're ranked 29th in run defense by PFF. This sets up perfectly for Hubbard to clear his rushing line. And I'll also sprinkle a little bit on over 100 rushing yards. I'm also on Trey McBride to score a touchdown at plus 165. He's the top red zone option in this Cardinals offense, and he saw multiple looks inside the 20 last week. Carolina's defense just gave up a TD to a tight end in Week 1, and McBride's usage makes him a strong candidate to find the end zone again here. And the late afternoon spotlight, Eagles at Chiefs. Philadelphia is a 1.5-point favorite, money line minus 110. Kansas City is just about even at minus 106. Total sits at 46.5. I'm on the Eagles money line here. Kansas City had trouble running the ball and protecting Mahomes, and I think that gives Philly the edge. For props, I'm taking Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown at minus 130. It's a staple of their offense, and against this defense, Hurts is always live near the goal line. But the best angle in this game is all about Dallas Goedert. If he's active, I'll be playing his receiving yards over. The Chiefs have been consistently poor against tight ends over the past couple of seasons, giving up chunk yardage underneath and over the middle. Goedert fits perfectly into that matchup. Sunday Night Football brings the Atlanta Falcons to Minnesota. The Vikings are favored by 3.5 with a money line of minus 186. Atlanta comes back at plus 156 if you're looking for the upset. The total is 44.5 with both sides priced the same. My plays here are first, J.J. McCarthy over 1.5 total touchdowns at plus 110. The rookie was sharp in his debut, throwing multiple scores in the fourth quarter to lead the comeback against Chicago. He showed poise under pressure, and with Minnesota's weapons, I like him to find the end zone twice again here. Second, on the Falcons team, total under 20.5 points at minus 115. Atlanta moved the ball last week, but they stalled on key drives and struggled with consistency. Now, they go into a tough environment in Minnesota against a defense that tightened up late in Week 1. I don't see them getting to 3 touchdowns.